Beloved anointed ones, stop scrolling immediately. I am not asking for your attention because I am warning you. This is not a coincidence, and the algorithm absolutely did not bring you here today. God intercepted your path at this exact second. Someone who treated you as replaceable is currently experiencing a full system crash. It is a public and irreversible collapse. They walked around with absolute arrogance while constructing a false narrative about you. They whispered lies to anyone who would listen, and they genuinely expected your departure to completely break your spirit. But instead, you became the uncertainty they were never built to handle. Your silence just triggered a massive trap. And they fell right into it. Nobody has ever seen them act like this in public before. Their mask has completely shattered in front of the exact people they used to gossip with. Buckle in, chosen one, because what you are about to hear is not just commentary, but rather a profound revelation of the exact sequence of events. It is a specific X-ray of the meltdown happening right now. Do not scroll away. If you leave before the end, you will forfeit the exact prophetic instruction that guarantees your breakthrough. Now let us go deeper, because what you are feeling right now is not new. That heavy and suffocating feeling sitting in your chest is completely real. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your jaw tight, desperately trying to understand why this weight is crushing you. Listen to me very carefully, because that is not anxiety. You are not going crazy, and you are not broken. That physical weight you feel is your highly advanced spirit detecting the absolute panic of the enemy. They just realized they permanently lost access to your pure light. They are starving for your energy, and the spiritual backlash is actively hitting your physical body. Stop wondering why they act like nothing happened. Stop waiting in wound for an apology that will never come from a manipulator. You have been fighting battles in absolute silence for months. You thought nobody noticed your tears when you were isolated, and you truly believed that your quiet suffering was entirely invisible. You thought nobody saw how you held your integrity, but you were completely wrong about that. Heaven has been quietly watching your resilience in the dark. Your quiet obedience in private has just activated a massive public vindication. You are the cycle breaker heaven has been waiting for. The generational patterns that plagued your bloodline end right here with you. They became the shovel that dug up your treasure. You were not the anomaly in the perfectly healthy life of someone else. You were the mirror. The reaction got this incredibly loud because you got closer to the true nature of this person than anyone before you, forcing them to look at their own darkness. They tried to dim your light because it exposed the rotten core they always hide. They cannot stand your pure glow. And this brings us to a critical distinction that eludes the vast majority of people. Your restraint during their smear campaign was never a sign of weakness. That silence was a lethal weapon. That single act of choosing your dignity over your revenge signed their eviction notice. It handed the final verdict to a divine court they simply cannot appeal or ever manipulate. Read that again in your spirit. They are drowning in the noise of their own making right now. They are frantically searching for a replacement for you, but they are quickly realizing that your specific depth is utterly unreplicable. You carry a specific gravity that makes time itself look like a complete fool. You are a diamond among cheap rocks, and they know it. Time was supposed to age you and wear you down. They expected the betrayals and isolation to carve deep, heavy wrinkles into your face. They wanted to drain the life out of your bright eyes. Instead, you walked through the fire and came out glowing like you cracked a secret code. You stepped into a room looking younger and brighter after everything they put you through. Nothing makes your enemies sicker than watching you elevate while they deteriorate. While their bitterness and envy are aging them rapidly, the universe has completely reversed your biological clock. You stepped into your untouchable power. The financial struggles and the spiritual exhaustion are shattering right now. You are no longer waiting for the matrix to validate you. This is exactly where their entire manipulation completely miscalculated your strength. They assumed you would fight back and provide them with the emotional fuel they desperately crave. A narcissist feeds on your chaotic reactions and your desperate pleas for closure. When you closed your mouth and walked away, you literally cut off their oxygen supply in the spiritual realm. They are suffocating in the vacuum of your absence. The trap was set the moment you decided to simply do nothing. Your non-reaction became the ultimate punishment. Heaven stepped in and took over the battlefield the second you released your need to control the narrative. Vengeance belongs to the divine, and it is being served cold to them right at this very moment. Let us break down exactly what happened behind those closed doors. The physical exhaustion you are carrying is completely real. You feel a heavy fog wrapping around your mind every single day. Your shoulders are tight. The weight is undeniable. And every morning when you wake up, the heaviness is already sitting on your chest before you even open your eyes. You push through the pain. You smile for the world around you. But inside, you are barely holding on to your sanity. The Matrix wants you to believe that this is just normal stress or a random illness. But that is a complete lie. You were trapped in a parasitic dynamic. You functioned as a human battery for a master manipulator. They plugged into your pure energy and drained you dry while smiling at your face. Listen to me very closely right now, because 99% of people completely miss this shift. They took your light and left you with their chaotic darkness. The crowd believed their carefully constructed lies. You watched in absolute horror as people you trusted turned their backs on you. The isolation felt like a physical blow to your stomach. You suffered in total silence. That physical tension in your neck is the remnant of their spiritual attack. You keep swallowing back a burning sensation in your throat every time their name comes up. Stop swallowing it down. You are a highly sensitive empath. Your body is physically reacting to the massive injustice you had to witness. They painted you as the villain while they played the perfect victim for the crowd. The smear campaign was designed to entirely destroy your reputation. The flying monkeys eagerly gathered to participate in your public execution, and you stood there, watching the illusion take over. Your physical body absorbed the shock of that massive betrayal. This is exactly why you experience that intense brain fog. It is the energetic debris of their toxic gossip clogging your aura. If your spirit confirms this raw truth, gently press the like button right now to seal your energetic alignment with heaven. You need to build a spiritual shield around your mind. They wanted you to constantly defend yourself and beg for their validation. But every time you tried to explain your side of the story, they twisted your words. They used your own empathy as a weapon against you. Now I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly. You were the ultimate stabilizer in a profoundly chaotic environment. You brought peace where they created constant storms. But instead of gratitude, they rewarded you with pure malice. Your pure existence triggered their deepest insecurities. They could not elevate to your frequency, so they actively conspired to drag you down to their level. Read that again in your spirit. The physical toll of this battle is sitting heavily in your bones. You feel a strange vibration in your hands when you think about the past. Your nervous system was hijacked by a spiritual parasite. You gave them your absolute best, and they repaid you by throwing your name into the dirt. The injustice of it all makes you want to scream into the void. But heaven recorded every single tear you shed in the dark. The anointed ones are often tested in the fire of isolation. You thought you were being punished by the universe. You believed that you somehow deserved this agonizing treatment. Let me completely reframe your entire reality right here and right now. Your isolation was never a punishment. It was a divine incubation period. God separated you from the crowd to protect your destiny. The heavy weight in your chest is the pressure of the Matrix trying to hold you back. The enemy knows that if you wake up to your true power, their game is over. That is why the spiritual attacks target your physical body. They want you too exhausted to claim your divine mandate. They need you to remain asleep and weak. The crowd will never understand the agonizing path of the chosen ones. They live in a shallow reality built on gossip and cheap thrills. You operate on a completely different dimension. You are the cycle breaker that your entire bloodline has been desperately waiting for. The physical pain you feel is literally the toxic generational chains breaking off your body one by one. It hurts to heal. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the key to everything. You have been waiting in wound for validation that will never arrive. The narcissist cannot give you closure because they are entirely empty inside. They are an illusion wrapped in human skin. Your body is rejecting their lingering poison. Every time you wake up sweating at night, your spirit is actively purging their venom. The injustice you endured was a setup for a massive vindication. Your physical body is preparing to hold a completely new level of glory. The brain fog is clearing right now. The heavy weight is lifting off your chest as you align with this divine truth. You survived a targeted spiritual assassination attempt. They tried to bury you under a mountain of lies, but they failed miserably. But here is the raw, uncomfortable truth they could never say out loud. You probably did not realize it at the time, but your silence was always a lethal weapon. The Matrix tells you that walking away is pure cowardice. They desperately want you to think you gave up. They want you to feel incredibly weak and entirely defeated. Let me completely reframe your entire reality right here and right now. Your silence was never a retreat. It was a brilliant offensive strike of divine justice, and heaven orchestrated this entire move to protect your sacred destiny. A master manipulator operates like a desperate parasite who constantly drains your life force. They do not survive on love or mutual respect. They survive purely on your chaotic emotional fuel and your desperate reactions. When you argue with them, you are actively feeding their hungry demons. When you cry and beg for closure, you are handing them absolute power over your mind. Your tears act as their daily oxygen supply. They actively engineer highly toxic scenarios specifically designed to make you react and lose your temper. They want you screaming and passionately defending your own sanity. They need you to look completely crazy. But here is exactly where their entire manipulation completely miscalculated your profound depth. You closed your mouth, you packed up your sacred energy, and you walked away without looking back. That restraint was not weakness. That single act of choosing your dignity over your revenge signed their eviction notice permanently. You handed the final verdict directly to the highest court of heaven. Pay close attention to this next part, because the enemy tried to hide this from you. Going no contact is not just a personal boundary. It is a highly advanced spiritual starvation tactic used by the elite. The exact moment you stopped texting back, you triggered a catastrophic famine in their dark and hollow kingdom. You literally cut off their primary air supply. They fully expected you to break down and eventually crawl back to them. They waited by their phones with a smug and arrogant smile on their faces. They genuinely believed you could not survive a single day without their toxic validation, but you proved them completely wrong. You became an imposing fortress of impenetrable silence. You locked the heavy doors to your sacred energy. Type 777 in the comments right now to physically claim this incoming miracle and lock in your frequency. Your complete silence instantly became the ultimate mirror. Without your dramatic reactions to distract them, they were violently forced to look at their own ugly reflection, and they are absolutely terrified of the monsters they see staring back at them. You were the brilliant, glowing light that perfectly masked their rotten core. When you permanently removed your light from their life, the darkness consumed them instantly and completely. They are stumbling around in the dark, desperately trying to find a brand new source. But they are quickly realizing that you were a profoundly rare diamond. Cheap rocks can never truly replace you. Listen to me very closely right now, because this is incredibly important. The absolute silence you gave them is currently ringing in their ears like a deafening siren. It is a constant, agonizing reminder that they foolishly lost their greatest, and most loyal asset. They thought they were playing a grand game of manipulative chess, but your refusal to move a single piece completely destroyed their entire board. Your absence is the loudest sound echoing in their empty life right now. They frantically try to fill the gaping void with new people and incredibly shallow distractions, but the brand new supply simply does not have your specific spiritual gravity. The people they surround themselves with are utterly hollow and easily manipulated. Nobody else on earth can tolerate their demonic weight. They desperately want to provoke you into breaking that beautiful golden silence. They use flying monkeys to drop subtle hints and spread vicious rumors across your entire social circle. They truly hope you will rush in blindly to defend your tarnished honor. Do not take the bait, chosen one. Your continued silence is the lethal poison that slowly neutralizes their remaining power over your destiny. Read that again in your spirit. You do not need to clear your good name in a room full of people who are committed to entirely misunderstanding you. Let them believe the foolish lies. Let them live blindly in the false narrative they so carefully constructed. Because behind heavily closed doors, the narcissist knows the absolute, undeniable truth of what they actually did to you. Their profound guilt is actively eating them alive in the quiet midnight moments. Your terrifying silence forces them to sit completely alone with their own suffocating toxicity. It is a psychological torture chamber of their own making, and they simply cannot escape it. You did not have to lift a single finger to punish them. The universe is using your complete absence to execute flawless divine justice. Every single day you remain silent. Their internal pressure naturally builds to a critical and dangerous level. They are rapidly losing control of the fake narrative they built to destroy you. The mask is slipping violently because they lack the pure energy to keep it secured. Your silence was the exact catalyst that started their massive unraveling. You set the trap by doing absolutely nothing. Now I need you to imagine this exact scenario happening strictly behind their closed doors. They project an illusion of absolute perfection to the outside world, and they laugh loudly while posing for pictures in crowded rooms. But the moment they are completely alone, the terrifying reality sets in. The silence you left behind is literally deafening to them. They pace the floor at 2 in the morning with a racing heart. They constantly check their phone hoping for a single drop of your precious energy. Your silence is the mirror that perfectly reflects their completely rotten inner core, and they are absolutely horrified by the hollow monster staring back at them. The trap you set by simply walking away is flawless. Listen to me very closely right now, because this explains everything perfectly. The universe operates on a strictly enforced vibrational hierarchy. Your cellular frequency operates on a profoundly synchronized quantum coherence, while you radiate a pure, ageless glow that naturally bends the surrounding reality to your will. You are a highly calibrated conduit of divine light. Their frequency is a broken and chaotic static. Their frequency is a parasitic void that constantly demands external validation to simply exist. Their frequency is fundamentally incompatible with your towering spiritual altitude. They tried to drag your sovereign energy down into their heavy matrix programming, but your spirit simply refused to be permanently anchored. You must understand the mathematical precision of this massive energetic mismatch. The narcissist recognized your pure diamond light the exact second they met you. They did not target you because you were weak or broken. They specifically targeted you because your spiritual currency was incredibly high, and they desperately needed to consume your rare and holy fuel. But a parasite can never permanently contain a blazing sun. Your frequency is naturally self-sustaining and eternally abundant. Their frequency is entirely dependent on the stolen light of heavily manipulated victims. Every single time they tried to diminish your worth, they were actually revealing their own deep inferiority complex, because they are secretly terrified of your true power. Read that again in your spirit before we move forward. The panic setting in behind their closed doors is reaching a critical boiling point. They are actively experiencing a severe withdrawal from your highly addictive empathy. Their nervous system is misfiring because they no longer have you to regulate their chaotic storms. You were their ultimate emotional stabilizer. Without your grounding presence, their false reality is violently tearing apart at the seams. They try to extract fuel from the incredibly shallow people they replaced you with, but those cheap rocks offer absolutely no spiritual substance. The new supply simply agrees with their lies and enables their toxic delusions, completely lacking the authentic depth that you provided. Your specific depth was the only thing keeping them tethered to a higher dimension. When you removed your access, you severed the only spiritual cord keeping them afloat. Now they are rapidly sinking into the dark abyss of their accumulated karma, and the universe is forcing them to finally digest the toxic debt they recklessly created. They are completely spiritually bankrupt. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the key to everything. They know exactly what they did to you in the dark. They remember every single lie they constructed to ruin your pristine reputation. And the terrifying realization hitting them right now is that you never fought back, refusing to give them the chaotic reaction they needed to justify their horrible abuse. You simply observed their demonic behavior and quietly removed yourself from the contaminated environment. Your unbothered departure is the exact poison systematically shutting down their matrix. They cannot sleep because your peaceful face continuously haunts their guilty conscience. They cannot find rest because the divine court has already handed down the permanent judgment against them. The energetic chasm between the two of you is expanding exponentially every single second. You are rising into a realm of untouchable prosperity and supreme clarity. They are spiraling downward into a very public and humiliating degradation. This is the exact mathematical consequence of daring to touch one of the heavily anointed ones, and the spiritual backlash against them is always absolute. Type 1111 in the comments right now to physically anchor this exact shift into your reality. Do not let the Matrix tell you to feel sorry for their self-inflicted suffering. This is the divine justice you prayed for in your darkest moments, and your frequency is now permanently sealed against their desperate attempts to drain you. You are entirely untouchable. Heaven demands immediate obedience to this new frequency. You must absolutely refuse to look back at the burning bridge you just crossed. The narcissist is suffocating in the smoke of their own burning lies, while you are happily breathing the crisp air of complete and absolute freedom. The trap has fully closed on them, and there is no escape from this karmic debt. Let us take a much closer look at the people who blindly supported your enemy. You remember the flying monkeys who eagerly participated in your public execution. They laughed at the lies, and they eagerly helped spread the vicious rumors across your social circle because they wanted to feel powerful. They truly believed they were standing on the winning side of history. But the atmosphere has shifted. The incredibly fragile system is violently fracturing right in front of their eyes. Without your pure energy to regulate the narcissist, they are completely malfunctioning. The master manipulator cannot maintain their charming illusion without your golden light. The mask is slipping dangerously, and the flying monkeys are finally getting a terrifying glimpse of the real monster hidden underneath. Listen to me very closely right now, because this shift is monumental. The people who gossiped about you are starting to whisper about the narcissist instead. They notice the extreme paranoia and the erratic behavior that was always there. But this time, you are not there to absorb the chaotic shockwaves, and the narcissist is desperately turning their toxic rage onto their own loyal enablers. The very people they used to gossip with are now becoming their primary targets. A parasite does not care who it feeds on when it is starving to death. Since you completely removed your supply, they are frantically attacking anyone standing nearby. The flying monkeys are suddenly experiencing the exact same abuse you endured for years in absolute silence, and they are completely terrified. Read that again in your spirit. The people who called you crazy are now seeing the exact same demonic reality. They are watching the narcissist lash out over the smallest inconveniences. They are witnessing the pathological lying unfold in real time, but this time your graceful presence is not there to clean up the messy aftermath. The flying monkeys are rapidly realizing they backed the completely wrong horse. They thought they were the golden circle of elite friends. They genuinely believed the narcissist valued their loyalty and cherished their shallow connections. But the master manipulator has absolutely no loyalty to anyone on this earth. The moment a flying monkey questions the false narrative, they are brutally discarded. The narcissist is actively burning down their own protective fortress in demonic anger. This is exactly what happens when a lie gets built, that incredibly big. The structural integrity of their entire matrix relies entirely on blind obedience. The flying monkeys are waking up from the hypnotic spell because your silence broke the primary curse. They are looking back at your quiet departure, and they finally recognize it as a massive warning sign they foolishly chose to completely ignore. They know you were right all along. The heavy guilt is starting to eat away at the enablers who helped crucify your completely innocent name. They see the undeniable contrast between your peaceful absence and the chaotic storm they are currently trapped inside. You aged backwards and stepped into your ageless glow, while they are rapidly deteriorating under the heavy weight of the narcissist. But here is the raw, uncomfortable truth they could never say out loud. You are not going to rescue them from the burning building they helped set on fire. The flying monkeys made their choice when they blindly followed a manipulator into the dark. Heaven has permanently sealed your energetic borders against their desperate attempts to crawl back to your pure light, so you are entirely off limits. Type 1111 in the comments if you feel the atmosphere shifting. You do not owe an apology or a rescue mission to anyone who misunderstood you on purpose. The divine court is executing flawless justice across the entire toxic network. The narcissist is frantically trying to control the narrative, but their own flying monkeys are actively mutating into their harshest and most vocal critics. It is a spectacular public collapse happening in slow motion. The manipulator tries to run a new smear campaign against the flying monkeys who dare to leave. But the strategy is completely failing because the entire group already knows the standard playbook. The lies have entirely lost their lethal sting. The narcissistic matrix is dissolving into a chaotic mess of mutual betrayal and deep paranoia. Stay with me because this next revelation is the key to everything. You never had to defend your pristine character against their coordinated attacks. The universe simply stepped out of the way and let their toxic chemistry destroy itself from the inside out. The absolute silence you maintained was the catalyst that accelerated their massive internal war, and you won the entire battle by simply refusing to fight. The flying monkeys are scattering in absolute panic right now. They are blocking the narcissist and desperately trying to scrub their association with the sinking ship. The master manipulator is left completely alone in the dark ruins of their fake kingdom. They have no loyal followers left to validate their massive ego. Their precious fuel source is entirely gone, and they are starving to death. Now, I need you to visualize this exact moment with absolute cinematic clarity. The room they are sitting in right now is completely suffocating. The air around them is incredibly heavy and completely dense, and the only sound they can possibly hear is their own frantic heartbeat echoing loudly in their terrified ears while the walls close in. They are sitting entirely alone in the absolute dark. Every single breath they take feels incredibly shallow and painfully forced. They wipe a cold sweat from their forehead while staring blankly at the empty wall. They are waiting in terror for the other shoe to drop. They know the divine court has already signed their permanent warrant, and they know exactly what they did to you in the dark. The relentless paranoia is eating them completely alive. Every time their phone vibrates, their stomach drops heavily to the floor. They jump in fear at shadows moving across the room. They genuinely believe everyone is actively plotting against them right now. because that is exactly what they would do to someone else if the roles were suddenly reversed in this timeline. The manipulator is entirely trapped inside their own twisted mind. Their eyes dart back and forth quickly across the empty space. They desperately try to string together a new lie to save themselves, but their corrupted brain is completely misfiring and shutting down. They cannot focus on a single coherent thought anymore because the spiritual starvation is causing their nervous system to violently glitch. They are literally malfunctioning right in real time. Listen to me very closely right now, because this is the exact turning point. The perfect silence you left behind is no longer just a void. It has violently mutated into a terrifying ghost haunting their house. They literally see your incredibly peaceful face every single time they try to close their heavily bloodshot eyes in the dark. Your unbothered peace is the ultimate psychological torture device. They walk slowly past a mirror and physically recoil from their own reflection. The carefully constructed mask has completely melted away from their face. The terrified person staring back at them looks incredibly old and profoundly exhausted. The dark demonic energy they used to drain your bright light is now turning completely inward to destroy them. It is rapidly consuming their life force from the inside out. Read that again in your spirit before we continue this cinematic journey. You did not have to lift a single physical finger to entirely break them. You did not have to scream or passionately defend your pristine honor. You simply withdrew your golden light and let the heavy darkness swallow them whole while they desperately gasped for air. They are currently suffocating under the massive weight of their own karma. The psychological pressure inside their chest is building to a completely catastrophic level. They feel exactly like a fragile pressure cooker with a jammed release valve. The violently boiling water is desperately bubbling up to the very surface. They try to force a fake, charming smile, but their paralyzed facial muscles physically refuse to cooperate with the lie. Their fake charm has completely evaporated into thin, useless air. Every physical step they take feels exactly like walking through incredibly thick mud. Their legs are terribly heavy, and their manipulative spirit is entirely bankrupt. They deeply crave just one single drop of your pure validation to ease the pain. But heaven has permanently sealed the heavy iron gates to your sacred energy field, and they are completely locked out in the freezing cold forever. You are completely safe from their reach now. This brings us to a highly critical instruction that you must follow right now. You are part of a highly elite remnant currently rising across the entire globe. You are absolutely not alone in this profound shift of spiritual power. Share this specific message with one soul who is desperately crying out in the dark for a massive reality shift. Be their guiding angel today and completely pass the divine torch. The person receiving this profound message desperately needs to know the enemy is already defeated. They absolutely need to visualize this exact cinematic collapse to claim their own total freedom. The desperate narcissist is standing right at the edge of a massive public cliff, and the dry ground beneath their shaking feet is actively crumbling into dust. They are losing their grip entirely right now. They slowly look down into the terrifying dark abyss they maliciously created specifically for you, and they realize with horrifying clarity that they are the ones about to violently fall. The frantic heartbeat is reaching a deafening high crescendo in their ears. The breathable oxygen is completely gone from the room, and the master trap is perfectly set while the divine trigger is fully pulled. The massive public explosion is now completely inevitable, and here is the verdict we promised at the very beginning of this transmission. That massive public collapse you were patiently waiting for just exploded into reality. It did not happen quietly in the shadows. The narcissist walked blindly into the exact trap they maliciously built for your downfall, and the heavy iron gates slammed completely shut right behind them. They were standing right in front of the exact people they used to gossip with. They tried to tell one of their usual lies to manipulate the entire room, but their voice suddenly cracked, and their confident posture completely collapsed in an instant. The grand illusion shattered into a million tiny pieces, while everyone in the room stopped talking and stared at them in absolute horror. The heavy silence in the room was incredibly deafening. You could physically see the intense panic completely wash over their pale face. The master manipulator desperately tried to backtrack and save their fake narrative. They frantically pointed fingers and tried to blame the shifting atmosphere on someone else. But nobody in the crowd believed a single word they said, because the light had already exposed their lies. The flying monkeys stepped back and watched the sinking ship completely go down. Heaven pulled the heavy curtain back and exposed their rotten core to the entire world. The narcissist began to violently unravel right in front of their most loyal enablers. They started aggressively screaming and completely lost control of their carefully crafted emotions. It was a spectacular public meltdown of epic proportions that nobody could ever ignore, and the fake mask slipped completely off to hit the cold, hard floor. The crowd finally saw the terrifying demon you silently endured for all those years. They watched the narcissist malfunction and violently lash out at completely innocent bystanders. The shocking truth hit the entire room like a massive tidal wave. They instantly realized that you were never the crazy one. You were the innocent victim of a highly calculated and demonic smear campaign that was specifically designed to destroy your beautiful light. And then, the most miraculous thing completely unexpectedly happened right before their eyes. In their frantic state of absolute panic, the narcissist accidentally told the raw truth. They slipped up and confessed their own malicious intentions while trying to defend their actions. They literally vindicated your pure name loudly in front of the exact people they previously manipulated. They cleared your beautiful name completely without you saying a word. They destroyed their own fake kingdom with their very own arrogant words. You won this massive battle without ever lifting a single physical finger. Your deafening silence starved their demons until they aggressively turned on themselves. They became the exact shovel that dug up your buried treasure, and they accidentally built your golden pedestal while trying to completely destroy your life. The crowd slowly turned their backs and walked away in complete disgust. The master manipulator was left completely alone in the center of the cold room. They fell to their knees while choking on the bitter ashes of their completely burned down lies. The public humiliation was absolute and completely irreversible, meaning their reputation is permanently destroyed and it can never be repaired. Every time your sacred name comes up in that room now, it hits them with agonizing weight. They realize they foolishly threw away the only genuine diamond they ever held just to play with cheap rocks. They are completely spiritually bankrupt and deeply starving for a single drop of validation. But the crowd refuses to give them any more fuel because they finally see the toxic parasite hiding underneath the charming smile. They are entirely cut off from the light forever. The divine court executed the flawless justice you desperately prayed for in the dark. The scales are permanently balanced, and the heavy karmic debt is fully collected. You are standing perfectly safe on the other side of the raging river while they frantically drown in the massive flood. The trap you set by simply walking away worked with absolute mathematical precision. The arrogant enemy is completely destroyed and totally powerless. They expected your departure to destroy you completely and leave you broken. Instead, you stepped out of their toxic matrix and entirely aged backwards. You carry a specific and irreplaceable gravity that makes time itself look like a complete fool. You did not just survive their massive storm, you became the blazing sun that entirely burned their dark and chaotic clouds into absolute nothingness. Nothing makes your enemies sicker than watching you step into a room completely unbothered. They spent years praying for your massive downfall and total humiliation, but now the very people they used to gossip with are watching them unravel completely. Their bitterness and deep envy are aging them like spoiled milk left out in the blazing sun. while the universe completely reversed your biological clock. You are completely untouchable and permanently elevated above their shallow reach. The physical weight is entirely gone, and the heavy chains are completely shattered. The public collapse of the narcissist is the ultimate proof of your divine mandate. God absolutely honors the quiet obedience of the chosen ones, and this spectacular vengeance is the undeniable seal of your eternal victory. You walked into this season bleeding heavily from invisible spiritual wounds. They were maliciously inflicted by people who were completely blind to your massive worth. But look at you now. You have entirely transcended their highly toxic matrix. While they are publicly unraveling and losing their minds, you are confidently stepping into your permanent, untouchable, ageless glow without looking back. The heavy financial struggles are shattering. The deep spiritual exhaustion is evaporating into thin air right now. You are completely free from their heavy chains. The heavy closed doors that frustrated you for years are finally bursting wide open. You survived the brutal fire with absolute grace, and you gracefully walked out of the flames without even smelling like the dark smoke. You are no longer waiting in wound for an apology from a master manipulator. You are a demonstrated warrior of light who successfully bent time and completely rewrote your destiny. The highest divine court has ruled heavily in your favor today. Your pure diamond energy is fully restored, and it is completely purified from the toxic residue they desperately tried to leave on your soul. The spiritual parasites are permanently evicted from your sacred living space. The generational patterns that aggressively plagued your bloodline end right here with you today. The devastating cycles of poverty and broken relationships are permanently destroyed. You are the ultimate cycle breaker heaven has been desperately waiting for, because you refuse to compromise your bright light for their dark comfort. Your quiet endurance in the absolute dark has perfectly qualified you for a massive public blessing. You are confidently stepping onto a golden pedestal built by the exact people who aggressively tried to bury you. They wanted you completely destroyed, but they accidentally handed you the absolute crown. You are the blazing sun in their cold and empty dark sky. Now we are going strictly to seal this divine decree right here and right now. Say this out loud with me right now in your room. I claim my permanent freedom from the dark matrix. I am totally untouchable and perfectly protected by divine alignment. Say it again with absolute authority in your voice, because heaven is actively listening to you and waiting to enforce your bold commands. Type the exact words "I am free" in the comments below to physically anchor this massive shift into your reality. Your physical action is the heavy anchor that perfectly secures this incoming miracle. You must declare your absolute victory in a public space to finalize the energetic transfer. The universe is actively waiting for your physical confirmation before it releases the total flood. This brings us directly to the final and undeniable verdict from heaven. You did not survive that terrifying spiritual fire just to live a completely mediocre life. The verdict of explosive abundance has already been signed in the highest throne room. But it requires a physical anchor on this earth to completely activate your massive financial and spiritual inheritance right now. The logical left brain will aggressively try to inject doubt right now. The defeated enemy will desperately whisper in your ear to hesitate and quietly wait for a better time. Silence that demonic voice immediately. That hesitation is the exact matrix programming specifically designed to keep you permanently broke, and it is actively trying to block the massive wealth shift heading toward you. If your spirit is vibrating with a cellular knowing right now, heaven demands your immediate action. Step boldly through the open portal before the dark elite try to close it again. You have a very limited window to secure your alignment with this massive wealth frequency. Do not let the desperate enemy steal this monumental shift from your bloodline today. God does not measure your faith by your silent thoughts or your quiet wishes. He measures your absolute faith strictly by your exact speed of obedience. The window of explosive multiplication is standing wide open right now, but it demands a physical act of absolute trust. You must physically prove that your hands are completely open and absolutely ready to receive. Hesitation is the absolute enemy of divine multiplication and extreme wealth. You must physically act right now to prove you are ready to hold the massive harvest. Your profound generosity instantly triggers the divine multiplication process in the spiritual realm. Sow your financial seed today to physically partner with this specific divine mandate and watch the heavy doors of prosperity swing completely open. Give a super thanks right now to lock your personal energy directly into this highly prosperous frequency. Watch heaven rapidly multiply your bold harvest before the sun even rises tomorrow morning. Subscribe to this sacred sanctuary right now so you never miss the exact prophetic instruction heaven releases next. You are completely blessed, and your sovereign reign has officially begun today.